All right, lastly, we have example F. You will see these when in H5 on Algebra 2 on your IXL. In this case, you could do it the way that we just did in the last video and multiply by the complex conjugate of the denominator, and then you would have to reduce. But I'm just going to show you the faster way because let's work smarter and not harder. We can factor things like this. If you ever see something that can be factored, go ahead and do it. Factoring is where I pull out wherever they have in common, whatever they have in common, right? So the 1 plus I in the numerator, there's not much I can do to that. There's nothing they really have in common except for the number 1. However, in the denominator, I see 6 plus 6I. I notice they have a 6 in common. I could take that out. Take it out. Take it outside of parentheses. All right, I'm going to factor it out. Whatever you factor out, you divide each piece by to see what's left inside the parentheses. So if I divided 6 by 6, that would just be the number 1. And if I divided 6I by 6, that would just be an I, right? Or a 1I if you like. But what you see here now is that I have a 1 plus I in the numerator and a 1 plus I in the denominator. And so therefore they will cancel each other out. They're a package deal. When you have the same package in the top and the bottom, they will cancel out. So all I have left is that 6 in the denominator. We talked about this before. You can't just have nothing in the numerator. So there can always be a times 1. You would hold the spot with a 1. 1/6 is your answer. All right. In a similar fashion on number 2, I'm going to look for anything that they have in common. In the numerator, I see negative 80 and negative 30. I know these are both multiples of 10. Not just 10, but negative 10. So if I factor out what they have in common, which would be a negative 10, I'm taking it out. I want to see what's left inside the parentheses because I'm not actually changing this problem. Even when I pulled this 6 out, if I sent it back through, 6 times 1 would give me the 6, and 6 times I would give me the 6I. These are the same thing, just in a different form. That's what factoring is. So if I pulled out a negative 10, if I divided each piece by negative 10, negative 80 divided by negative 10 means that would actually be a positive 8 left. Negative 30 divided by negative 10 would be a positive 3. And then, of course, I had my I. Oh, look at that. 8 plus 3I is what I had in the denominator, and they didn't have anything in common to pull out. But I did what I needed to because I have the same package on the top and the bottom, and they cancel. And all I'm left with is a negative 10. It was in the numerator, so just negative 10. We don't have to add a denominator. I mean, this is negative 10 over 1, but that's not simple. This is simple. Negative 10 is your answer. All right. Lastly, example 3. Okay. My numerator is negative 7 minus 21. What is their greatest common factor? What is the biggest number I can pull out of negative 7 and negative 21? Negative 7, yes? Negative 7 goes into both of these. And I want to just go ahead and pull out the negative as well. So if I divide them both by negative 7, negative 7 divided by negative 7 would leave me with a 1. Negative 21 divided by negative 7 would leave me with a positive 3. And then, of course, I have the I. That is not what I see in the denominator. That's not going to just cancel this package. So let's see. Let's look at it and see if 3 plus 9i has something I could factor out. 3 and 9 have, of course, the number 3 in common. And I don't need to pull out a negative because they're not negative. I'll just pull out the number 3. I will factor out the number 3. So I'll divide each piece by what it was I factored out to see what's left inside the parentheses. If I divided the 3 by 3, that would, of course, give me the number 1. If I divided the 9 by 3, it would give me the number 3. Positive 3, and then of course I have my I. Voila, there it is. I now have the same binomial package in the top and the bottom, and they will cancel. And I'm just left with negative 7/3. And that is my answer. And that is the end of my lesson. So I hope you guys understand. If you don't, you can text me on Remind. Do your work. Have a great summer, and I will see you next year.